Alrighty guys, hello everybody. We've got a couple updates to go over, so I haven't made a video in a while. I've been having some computer problems. Anyways, let's hop right into it. The first bug is that the lava bridge in this dungeon was not properly coming up, so that has been fixed. The next fix made is that these loot chests would have loot for the first player that gets to them, but then every other player would have an empty chest just like this. It has been changed so every single player gets to have their own randomized loot from all the different loot chests. The crystal chests were also not always spawning pretty consistently, so now they spawn a lot more consistently in dungeons. The next one is that beacons were not consistently counting in the boss bar, but now they do, so you can keep track of your objectives completed. The next one is that the redstone for the archery puzzle has been fixed. It used to be a repeater clock, but it kept getting frozen due to chunk loading and unloading, and now is an observer clock, so it is much more reliable, though in some ways a lot harder at the same time. Next bug was that this exact red concrete block was one block higher, making the entire puzzle impossible to solve. But it got moved back down so you can properly have the lava flow down into this gold zone. There was another bug, well, not exactly a bug, but a tweak made. The tornadoes do not last for a very long time, but they used to last longer at higher levels. Unfortunately, this ended up being sort of like an armor destroyer, where because they deal lots of damage at a very high rate, or well, very little damage, but like constantly, it ate through armor durability at higher levels, so that has been changed. So no matter what level it is, the tornadoes just don't really last any longer, but they do deal more damage, so they sort of got balanced in that way. But yeah, they're pretty short little burst of wind. Our favorite creepy crawler, the living sand, has been nerfed. It now gives you blindness for a very short period of time, whereas it used to give you blindness for a very long period of time. We had a couple bugs with the bosses. One was that they would spawn multiple times. That was fixed. Some tweaks then made is that they do more of their attack variations earlier. So currently it's at 100% health. Enter second stage at 70 and then 30% health. But now, due to the bosses just being a little too weak, it has increased. So attacks that would have only come out at 30% health and below now come out at any point during the boss's phase. Oh, and also their health has been drastically increased. You can check out a table for that information on the Discord. Check that out. The loot table for ancient scrolls has been changed so that you get different amounts of ancient scrolls at different difficulties instead of it being the same at every difficulty. This does definitely mean that the casual dungeons are having way less ancient scrolls in them, but it's a very good change in my opinion. As seems to have to happen in every single bloody update, I made the tutorial even easier because we have a whole bunch of numrods joining our server that just don't seem to understand giant white circle. You stand inside it and it activates the monolith. You literally watch the little counter up here increase while you stand inside the flashing white zone. Nope, too difficult. So I put in text directly saying, stand within the zone. So yeah, pretty much every single update will seem to have some sort of change to increase the easiness of the tutorial. Speaking of which, the puzzle section in the tutorial to try out the dungeon puzzles has been made even easier by having a cobblestone backdrop just to make it a little bit more visually distinctive. In other changes has been to the loot. So tier 2 loot and tier 3 loot and tier 4 loot have all had changes done to them. A lot of the great stuff in tier 2 got taken out and moved to tier 3, and a lot of the not so great stuff in tier 4 got taken out and moved to tier 3 also. With the loot changes also came some changes to how the time add-ons work. So if I get, says items get 5-minute add-on. So the 10, 20, and 30-minute add-ons have been changed to 5, 10, and 15, but they have been made stackable. So now you're able to use as many 5-minute time add-ons as you would like. It's instead of just one of each type. But this also means they are a little bit less common for the higher amounts. So you have 5 minutes in tier 2, 10 minutes in tier 3, and 15 minutes in tier 4. Oh, sticky keys. That's no good. All right. Other changes is that now instead of requiring netherite to like remove lava, make easier parkour, to remove traps, to skip the boss, to skip the objective, to reveal secret zones and stuff, it doesn't require netherite anymore. Instead, it requires this flashy little substance called magic dust. How do you get magic dust? Guess what? It's now in the tutorial. Let's go check it out. So the way you do this is that you take any two custom ores, you put them in a grindstone, and you get magic dust. So in the tutorial, get two sugalite, you put them both in a grindstone, like so, and ta-da! Magic dust. And you get 9 of that, and you can make your dungeon runs easier. So now the custom minerals have use no matter what point of the tech tree you're on. So I think that's pretty nifty. Some changes have been made to spawn. This room, which used to be where you'd use your boss keys to get power items, will be the quest zone to be able to get quests to complete, to get ranks and stuff. And that will be coming up soon. This room has been changed to the event room. So whenever there is an event, which will be hopefully on every single Sunday, starting at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, we will have a portal in here to some sort of event, whether that's a dungeon, a boss raid, just going to the end or something like that. By the way, the end is not disabled. You can go to the end yourself anytime, but you know what? For new players, you might as well enjoy, some big event all gathering to fight the dragon. It's fun. But all of the dungeon loot has been moved to one central location. This building, which now has the boss keys, you can get the loot in there, and you can now use dungeon keys. This has actually always been here. Hello, Gary. But anyways, this has always been here, it is now even more prevalent. There's also been some changes, crazy crates, reload, to the crazy crates. So instead of having several different crates like common, rare, mythic, legendary, etc., there is now simply one for armor augments. Armor augments are now officially part of the game and can be used with your empowered enderite armor, which you can check out in the crafting table. That's one use for dungeon keys. You can also use dungeon keys in these vaults to get quite literally any loot table in the game that would be in a chest. So you can get igloo chests. From igloos, you can get shipwreck supplies, shipwreck maps, and city treasure. Anything your heart desires, grab it with dungeon keys, which again you get by running our dungeons with a bad omen effect when you enter the dungeon. Moving on to some changes, there were some changes made to the Flutter's Feather, the dashback. You now have an unlock you can get to be able to drop TNT as you escape, and also to the charge with the mystical carrot. You have an unlock now also to be able to throw your enemies away whenever you are charging through them. The jumping staff also got a slight nerf and does not increase its jump height quite as much as you upgrade it. And there have been obviously a lot of new items added from the very first version. Wizard Wand was the very last item, but you can see now that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 different items have been added. So we are super excited to go through all those in a different video. Anyways, that is pretty much all of it for this video. We didn't cover absolutely every bit of the changelog, so you can go check that out on our Discord. But I love you guys so much. Hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.